Isaiah Simmons back?
Yes.
You expect him to play this week?
I do.
Anyone else? Nick McLeod?
Not practicing.
And Kayvon. I know he's been on there.
Sorry. Yeah, he'll be good.
There's a report that Jalen Hyatt said in the summer that you guys should trade him if you're not going to use him. How did you guys get past that?
Never told me that. So Jalen is probably one of the closer guys I am with on this team. You should ask Jalen.
What made you have confidence in him despite the fact that you haven't deployed him a lot yet?
Well, again, he has his role in personnel. Slayton, Neighbors, and Wandell, I've covered this. They're the starters and half personnel. He has a role. When his number's called, he'll be ready to go. He's in good spirits. Jalen and I and the receivers talk every day. We meet a lot. Have a lot of confidence in Jalen. Jalen knows that. So when he has a chance to make a play, go out there and make a play.
I only ask that because the fans have seen his explosiveness in game. You used him last year, the Arizona game,
Yeah.
the New England game. So they are
Yeah.
asking.
I'd
hey,
say we have. I think we have 4 explosive guys. I think Wandell is explosive, Neighbors is explosive, Slayton's explosive, Hyatt's explosive. Again, they all have roles. Those other guys play a little bit more than Jalen, but when Jalen has his opportunity, I certainly have a lot of confidence in him.
What kind of role does Slayton play in that room now that Shep's gone? He's the elder statesman.
Yeah.
Off the field, what role do you feel like he plays with the younger guys?
Yeah, he's a good leader in that room. They meet a lot. The quarterbacks meet a lot with the receivers. The receivers spend extra time together. They do a lot of dinners together. It's a really close-knit group. He's been productive here for a while. Slay has. I think the quarterback has a lot of confidence in him. He has the confidence in all the guys. But he's been around. He's been around the block around here. Understands things. Confident player. Good leadership. Veteran that's done it for a while and been productive doing it.
How tough have you found the balance between, you obviously want to get the ball down the field, right? But maybe the way they're playing you or the way the games have played out,
Yeah.
you haven't been able to do it. As a play caller, what's been your approach to that?
Again, I think we talked about that. You call them if they play a certain coverage that gives you an opportunity to throw them. You let it go. Had a study. One of our guys do a study in the analytics department. The first 2 weeks, how many balls have actually been thrown 20 yards or more in the league, thrown and caught 20 yards or more, not run and catch. Winning teams, it's been 3.5 a game. So again, I think we threw 3 of them last week. If they're there, you'd like to throw them. If not, you throw it underneath and you hope for some catch and run. There's a lot of big catch and run plays the first 2 weeks of the season. But you want to attack certainly downfield if you can. And if they give you appropriate coverage and the right look or the right matchup, you go ahead and let it rip.
Why do you commission a study like that? What, just to confirm what you think, or I'm just curious what?
Yeah,
goes into
no,
saying,
I
look
mean,
this up?
we do a lot. I do a lot of them just to kind of get trends throughout the early part of the season of different things that are going on, or maybe why some teams are a little bit more successful, some are less successful. It's not just that study. It was just that's what I asked for this morning, thinking about it. You watch games throughout the league, see how teams are winning or how they're playing, and some don't throw the ball a lot down the field and score some points, but it's catch and run or it's a screen pass, catch and run. Other teams, I just wanted to see how many times that was happening. And then you look at yourself and say, okay, how can we do it better or not do it better? I think it's just you continually try to self-evaluate and see what you can do better to make sure you're giving everybody a chance.
Do you say to Daniel, though, sometimes, I guess, given this situation, hey, just throw it up. Let's let those guys try to make a play.
If it's the right look. Today in the team meeting we watched, 30 turnovers from the league this past week through all different teams. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that just throw it up, and there's 3 guys back there, and it doesn't turn out so well. There's some that there's great individual plays by players. They catch it in between 2 guys. So I think there's a time and a place for it, and certainly if he has the right look, I think he'll throw it. And if he doesn't, we don't want him to force things into, a bad look and turn the ball over.
Coach said yesterday that the kicking Sunday is a competition. Is anybody ahead at this point?
Well, one more day. So, they've both done a good job. We'll finish it off today and make a decision.
But do you, I mean, is it strictly what you see this week? Obviously, one guy has more experience than the other.
Yeah, I
Is
think that plays a
factor?
part into it. Yeah, I do. I think it plays a part into it. But ultimately, it's out here at practice, see how we do. But certainly, that plays a part in it.
When you're setting out to do your game plan, is the first thing you do just identify like the game records on the other side? And if a guy like Garrett, you'd have we got to base everything based off of him.
Yeah, that's a good question. Certainly you do, because it's a matchup league, and other teams have really good players and other teams have really elite players, and it's hard to neutralize elite players. It really is. You have to have a plan for it, whether it's formation based, whether he's seen as many different looks as he can see since he's played, whether it's with backs, tight ends, formations, and he still manages to make a lot of plays. It could be a really good corner, it could be a good cover linebacker, it could be an offensive lineman that there's matchups are part of the NFL, obviously. Big matchups, interior guys, offensive line, defensive line, guys like Dexter, it's hard to have a plan for him every single play because they are so good, but you certainly have to take account into their elite players, and he's one of them in this league.
When you go up against, and you've seen a couple now, the defensive coordinators that have been in this league, they have a reputation, they have a resume.
Sure.
How do you guard against going too deep? How far back do you go with Schwartz, finding tendencies, maybe not you personally, but do you have your guys kind of unearth as much as possible?
I just think as a coach in this league, you put as much preparation and time into it. So I go back quite a ways. You dig as deep as you can dig just to make sure you're doing your part and preparing. That's your job as a coach, to make sure you study the tape. You see if you can find any sites of tendencies, whether it's last year, whether it's at Buffalo, whether it's at Philadelphia. I mean, there's a lot of tape on Coach Schwartz. The players are different. You see what is consistent situationally, if you have any tendencies. And he does a great job of self-scouting. I've known Jim for a long time. He's a very bright coach. But you certainly look as much tape as you can look at.
Just off of that, how aware are you that another coach might be looking the same for you?
Yeah, I think they all do. I think all coaches do that. They have a lot of good coaches on that staff, a lot that I've either worked with or have a relationship with. Ken Dorsey's on that staff. I think the world of Ken. I think he's an exceptional coach. When he was with me at Buffalo, and so we've been together for a long time. He knows stuff that I do. I know stuff that he does. Coach Schwartz and I have competed against one another. It's people that have been in the league long enough. There's a history there that you go back and you make sure that you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's as much as you can.
Two more. And a good coach and play caller.
Dorse.
Yeah.
He's very smart. He sees the game well. Understands. I would say every area you need to understand. To call plays, protection schemes, screen game, drop back game, route concepts, man-to-man beaters, blitz zero beaters. He understands defenses. He did a great job with the quarterback. Adjustments. I think the world of Ken. I think he's a heck of a coach.
Anything else?
Yeah, you touched on this this summer. But Malik brought it up again after the game that you're kind of referencing him for input on play call stuff, like what he wants to run. Malik referencing
yeah.
a play call. We talked about the summer. I guess how rare is that for a rookie? I know that's something you talk about you want to do with your receivers, but specifically for a rookie, especially that early in the year.
Yeah, I would say once they're on the team, you have a history with them in training camp. You get a feel for the player. You meet with them every day. You get a feel for their understanding of football. And Malik is very bright in that regard, not just understanding where he needs to line up, different spots, different positions, but he also has a good feel of how defenses are playing him or certain players are playing him, and he has good information he did at camp. That's where you build the trust, is during training camp and all the reps. So when he comes over to me and says, hey, this guy, when I get this split, he lines here, think about this. They're out there. You trust your players. They see it. You can look at it on a tablet, but they're right out there. So if they're giving you good information, you use it. If you go through a couple games where the information is not very good, then you don't use it. But he's an instinctive football player, and he's done a good job since he's been here.
I assume he did it with other guys in other places too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking about this yesterday. B. Marsh stopped by. Got a great relationship with Brandon, and when I was with him, and we've developed that relationship through coach and player. Then it's taken on from after I left Miami. And we were talking about that because I asked him for a lot of input when he was on the field. And a lot of it I listened to, most of it I did because he was an instinctive player. He understood the game, he understood how he was getting played, and he understood the matchups that we talked about. So, you have those good players. Gronk, when I was with Gronk, they come over to the sideline. This is how I'm getting played. This might work. Quarterbacks, the players work really hard at this. The coaches do, and it's a team effort.